Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Sayyid Salman Shafkat with you, and we are now discussing another aspect of our discourse, and this is our lecture number 19. In this, we shall discuss magnetic moments of lanthanides. Previously, we have usually discussed magnetic moments of 3D series, and we explained their oxidation state, their ionic state, and then we studied about their geometry, mode of hybridization, and we talked about their theoretical magnetic moment, and we have also discussed about their calculated magnetic moment. And for those transition elements, we also studied that their angular momentum is quenched due to ligands and other anions which surround the central metal atom, because in case of 3D elements, there are total 4 number of shells, and the electrons which contribute towards magnetization lies in 3D subshell. It means the contributing electrons are available in n-1 subshell. But in case of lanthanides, the contributing electrons are available in n-2 subshell, or we can say they are more buried inside the atom. That's why the ligands and anions or other surrounding atoms or group of atoms attached to lanthanides don't have much influence on the angular momentum of those electrons. That's why their angular momentum is not quenched, and in case of lanthanides, the magnetic moment will be equal to magnetic moment due to spin of electrons as well as magnetic moment due to their angular contribution. Further, we shall talk about the cause of paramagnetism in lanthanides, and we shall discuss about a factor that is land splitting factor, and as usual the end of this lecture will be on an assignment. Magnetic moment of lanthanides. Cause of paramagnetism. The paramagnetic property of an ion or an atom is due to presence of unpaired electrons, as we have discussed from the start of our discourse. Usually the lanthanides are available in +3 oxidation state. That's why we shall use a notation M+3 ions. These ions have unpaired electrons. Those will be paramagnetic in nature, and the ions having +3 oxidation state among lanthanides, which with the paired electrons will be diamagnetic. So in this scenario, lanthanum ion, when it is in +2 oxidation state, its electronic configuration will be 4f0, 5d0 and 6s0. Similarly, lutetium, when it will be in +3 oxidation state, its 4f subshell is completely filled, 5d is empty, 6s is empty. It means these two ions in their +3 oxidation state will show diamagnetism due to absence of unpaired electrons. On the other hand, the remaining tripositive lanthanides are paramagnetic because they contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 unpaired electrons. So from this slide we can conclude that lanthanum in +3 oxidation state and lutetium in +3 oxidation state are diamagnetic in nature. So sometimes this can be asked in an MCQs that which one of the following cation is diamagnetic in nature. So the option with the lanthanum plus 3 or lutetium plus 3 will be the right option. Or this question can be asked in another way, that lanthanum plus 1, lanthanum plus 2 and lanthanum plus 3. Similarly, lutetium will be asked in a similar way, lutetium plus 3 plus 2 or plus 1. So you have to make your mind, as far as I know, that the mood of final exam will be MCQs. All the other lanthanides in plus 3 oxidation state show paramagnetic property. Lanthanum ions in plus 3 oxidation state, the energy difference between two successive J levels of a multiplet, that is, multiplet width is larger as compared to Kt. In this equation, K is Boltzmann constant and T is absolute temperature. There is a strong Ls coupling. In these ions, the unpaired electrons, as I told you in the key points, right, that the contributing electrons are available in n-2 f orbitals, and they are quite deeply seated and hence are well shielded by 5s and 5p electrons from the effect of other atoms in their compound or crystal field effect. As I told you in the start of this lecture, in case of 3D series, the contributing electrons are present in n-1 subshell. So they are under the influence of ligands and other anions, and those ligands or anions quench their angular momentum. But in case of lanthanides, contributing electrons are more buried or seated deeply in the atom, so they are not influenced by the contributing, the surrounding ligands or anions are simply, we can say that there is no crystal field effect in case of lanthanides, and that crystal field effect has more influence in case of 3D series. Consequently, the effective magnetic moment of lanthanide in plus 3 oxidation state, with the exception of samarium and europium ions, are given by the following equation, provided that the ground state symbol of lanthaniums are known. Mu effective is equal to mu j is equal to G under root of J into J plus 1 in Bohr magneton, where G is Nernst splitting factor. In the previous slide, we concluded that lanthanum and lutetium, these two metals in plus 3 oxidation state, don't have unpaired electrons, so they will show diamagnetic behavior. And from this slide, I'm going to tell you that two cations, that is samarium and europium, have exceptional case. So from this slide, the MCQs can be formulated that which one of the following pair has exceptional magnetic behavior, and the option with samarium plus 3 and europium plus 3 will be the right answer. So you have to be mentally prepared for such type of questions. In this equation, G is equal to 1 plus J into J plus 1 plus S into S plus 1 minus L into L plus 1 over 2 J into J plus 1. In this equation, capital S is a resultant spin quantum number, capital L is a resultant orbital quantum number, J is a resultant inner quantum number which is obtained by L and S, and it is also known as Russell-Sanders coupling. The value of effective magnetic moment of sulfates of lanthanum in plus 3 oxidation state can be calculated from the equation mu effective is equal to mu J plus G into under root of J plus J into J plus 1 Bohr magneton. And those found experimentally values are given in the next slide. From the table presented on the next slide, the following points can be noted, that Although for most of lanthanides in +3 oxidation states, there is an almost good agreement between the calculated and experimental values, with the exception of samarium and europium. So in this slide, you can see in the very first column, lanthanides in +3 oxidation state. Lanthanium has 4F0, then 4F1, then 4F2, then 4F3, 4F4, 4F5, 4F6, 7, and at the end there are total 14 electrons in F section. And in the second column there is a number of unpaired electrons. You can see the number of unpaired electrons are gradually increasing from 0 to 7, that is at gadolinium, and from gadolinium then the number of electrons are going down. So similarly, you can see in the second last column, third last column, the value of magnetic moment is going on increasing from 0 to 2.54, then 3.58, then 3.62, and then this value is going down. 2.70, 0.84 for europium, the value is 0, and for gadolinium the value is maximum, the value is 7.94, and then the value is increasing, and then its value after europium onward, holinium, the value is going down. In the second last and third last column, two formulas are given. In the second last column, the formula is for spin only contribution, and for gadolinium, and you can see the value from full form of formula and from spin only formula are exactly equal to each other. Both of these formulas are giving the value 7.94, and exactly the value in the same range was calculated by an instrument. So another value is also in agreement from both of these two formulas, but anyhow, from ongoing discussion, those elements or ions will be very clear to understand. This is due to the fact that samarium and europium ions, the energy difference that is multiplied between successive J levels is comparable to KT, and the J levels above and the lowest J levels are populated by atoms to the same extent. This situation is actually not so simple as we have described. We know that for lanthanium +3, like the 4F is 0, for gadolinium F is equal to, F contains 7 electrons, or we can say that F is half filled. For lutetium F14 means it is completely filled. These three ions have S term symbol, and their total angular momentum is 0, that is no orbit effect. For these ions, when L is equal to 0, J is equal to hence, then the value of G will be equal to 0, and the above formula will be reduced. To just spin only formula. So that's why I told you while I was discussing the table that two ions have their values exactly similar as calculated from J formula and as calculated from spin only formula. The value of mu effective calculated from these two equations are also given in the table, which shows that mu J and mu S values for lanthanum plus 3, gadolinium plus 3, lutetium plus 3 ions are same, and in that table we have studied that n is equal to number of unpaired electron and j was equal to total angular momentum. The table discussed in second last slide showed that calculated values increases up to neodymium ion with 3.62 magnetic moment and then drops to for 2.83 for samarium ions, and then it starts rising again, that becomes equal to 10.65 and becomes maximum for dysprosium ion, and it starts decreasing again and becomes equal to 0 for lutetium, which is diamagnetic in nature. So this slide is actually the depiction or description of variation of magnetic moment as presented in the previous table. Somewhere I saw a graphical representation of magnetic moment. I think so when I taught this course last year, and I had that graph in which on the x-axis there were lanthanides in +3 oxidation state, and x and y-axis there was the value of magnetic moment. So that graph is a very beautiful and accurate description of this variation of magnetic moment. Anyhow, if I could found that graphical representation, I will share with you in Google Classroom, or I will send you on WhatsApp. So now we shall move towards a factor that is land splitting factor. Land splitting factor, also known as G factor, it is a factor in the formula for the splitting of energy levels in a magnetic field that determines the scale or degree of splitting in relative units. It also determines the relative magnitude of gyromagnetic ratio. The land splitting factor was first time introduced by a German physicist. In an external magnetic field causes each energy level to split up into 2j plus 1 sublevels. I'm not going into detail of 2j plus 1 sublevel because I am expecting that these topics have been discussed or studied in our previous lecture in a very much detail. In the field is weak, enough sublevels will be equidistant and lies metrically around the original position of the level. Without the field, the distance between them is proportional to field strength. Since it is the same for all levels of a given atom, it is convenient to explain Zeeman's splitting in terms of Lorentz unit L in per centimeter. I'm just giving you a background of this splitting of energy levels, as we have studied in our previous classes about quantum numbers. There were principal quantum number, then the second quantum number was, I think so, I forget the name of that quantum number. But anyhow, in that quantum number, we have studied that when we place any species in the presence of an applied magnetic or electric field, there is presence of more number of lines, and we studied in our previous classes that under the influence of magnetic field, the effect is known as Zeeman's effect, and in the presence of electric field, the effect is known as Stark's effect. So the L is equal to He over 4 pi mc square, that is equal to delta nu. In this equation, E is charge on electron in electrostatic units, m is mass of electron, c is velocity of light expressed in centimeter. In terms of normal remains triplet, this reduces to delta nu is equal to mu over j into m, or it simply becomes equal to gm. Magnetic moment measurements have been used to distinguish between inner and outer orbital complexes of transition metal ions with electronic configuration having d4 to d7 electrons. So it means the possibility of inner and outer orbital complexes is only present in transition elements which have d4 to d7 electrons. This is evident from the following example of ferricyanide ion, and its ionic name will be written as hexacyanoferrate ion. The structure of iron atom and iron plus 3 ions are given in equation 1 and 2. As we know that iron has 26 electrons, so it means there are 6 electrons in d subshell. When it is converted into Fe plus 3, so it means it is losing 3 electrons. So 2 electrons are moving from 4s and 1 electron will be eliminated from d subshell. So after having Fe plus 3 oxidation state, there will be total 5 electrons in d subshell. In this case, we have a cyanide ligand. Cyanide ligand has tendency to pair up electrons in d subshell. So it will, you can see in the third equation that the d subshell is empty in the last two blocks. It means two of electrons have been sent to the previous orbitals, and the orbitals which are going to be involved in hybridization belong to 3d subshells. So in this case, the mode of hybridization will be written as D2sp3 hybridization, and 6 cyanide uh, ligands will donate pair of electrons to form coordinate covalent bond between iron and cyanide. The 5 unpaired electrons in iron plus 3 ion give a calculated magnetic moment of 5.92 Bohr magnetine. The magnetic moment for hexacyanoferrate ion, however, is 2.3, suggesting perhaps there is only one paired electrons. In order to explain the magnetic moment of hexacyanoferrate, Pauling suggested that the three unpaired electrons in 3d electrons in iron plus 3 undergo a pairing to give the arrangement as shown in equation number 2 in the previous slide. The resulting complex would have one unpaired electron, and the mode of hybridization will be D2sp3, that is inner orbital complex. The electrons to occupy the D2sp3 hybrid orbitals would be provided by the lone pair from each of the 6 cyanide ligands. This means that the bond between ligand and central metal ion are coordinate covalent in their linkage. Complexes like hexacyanoferrate are known as inner orbital complexes because the d orbital involved are from lower subshell than s and p. It means in these complexes, the orbital that is from d is 3d, and s and p belong to fourth shell of central metal atom. Now, the other case is ferrocyanide ion. In the ferrocyanide ion, there is one more electron than in ferricyanide ion. The extra electron pair with the unpaired d electron in 3 to give the structure shown in 4 in above figure. The ferrocyanide ion has therefore no unpaired electron and would be expected to diamagnetic. This is found to be it is an octahedral with D2sp3 hybridization. So there are some other examples which resemble to this structure. They are ferri or ferrocyanide ion, including hexaamine cobalt, hexacyanomanganate, hexaamine chromium, and hexacyanochromium. Ferrifluoride ion, hexafluorophorate. Hexafluorophorate is an octahedral like ferri and ferrocyanide ions. However, it has a magnetic moment of 6, which is close in agreement with the value of 5.9, a value which would be expected from a structure with 5 unpaired electrons. In order to explain this, it is assumed that no pairing of electrons in iron plus 3 ion takes place, and the mode of hybridization is sp3d2, as we can see from the orbital level diagram that the d subshells that are involved in hybridization, they are 4d orbitals. So it means in hexafluorophorate is an example of outer orbital complex because d orbitals involved in the hybridization are from a higher subshell than that of S and P. Other examples of outer orbital complexes are hexafluorocobaltate, hexaamine iron, and etc. In this case, the reason behind outer orbital complexes are sp3d2 hybridization lies in the fact that fluoride ion is a weaker ligand as compared to cyanide, as we have observed in our previous example. In previous cases, we observed that a cyanide ligand can pair up electrons present in d subshell. But in this case, fluoride ion is a weak ion, so it does not have capability to pair up electrons. That's why all of the electrons present in d subshell are are unpaired and contribute towards magnetization of the complex. That's why complex shows maximum magnetization. Now we shall come across the second application of magnetic moment, that is stereochemistry. Magnetic moment measurements have been used to determine stereochemistry of some transition metal complexes. For example, divalent nickel with two unpaired electrons in the free can form two types of complexes with four ligands. If the bonds are arranged tetrahedrally and involve sp3 orbitals, the complex should be paramagnetic in nature with magnetic moment corresponding to two unpaired electrons. And in contrast, if, however, square planar arrangement of bonds is present around the central metal atom, then the mode of hybridization would be dsp2 instead of sp3 hybridization, and the complex would be diamagnetic. From our previous knowledge, we know that when there are four regions of electron density around a central metal atom, then there are two possible arrangements of electron densities around the central metal atom. One of these two arrangements uh, is sp3 with bond angle of 109.5, and the other arrangement around the central metal atom can be formed in square planar arrangement. In square planar arrangement, the bond angle between adjacent bonds is usually 90 degree. Here we have example of nickel. Nickel in +2 oxidation state has two unpaired electrons in its d subshell. So when there is a mode of hybridization sp3, the p orbital is p3. So it means we can see from the orbital level diagram there are two unpaired electrons and their magnetic moment is around 2.8 Bohr magneton. And in the last case, we can see that when there is a square planar arrangement, then the mode of hybridization is dsp2, and we can see the empty orbital at the end. It means this orbital is empty and it does not take part in hybridization. So when there is no unpaired electron, so it means the material will act as a diamagnetic species and there will be a value for the magnetic moment equal to 0. Now the questions from this lecture: by which derivation you can calculate mu effective of sulfates of lanthanides. Then the second question is, although for most of lanthanides in +3 oxidation state, there is an almost good agreement between the calculated and experimental values. For samarium and europium ions, the agreement is poor. So you have to explain or justify this. I would like to say thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.